So on that happy note, finish. Oh, sorry, you wanted to say something.
I was simply going to say something along the lines like you asked like why we're here. Well, we're here because we were chosen to be here. We chose this earth. You know, I mean, if I feel like with the modern society,
that's again how.
How?
Yeah.
How what?
That answers the question how. That reveals the mechanism by which we have come here. But the purpose goes deeper even than that. In other words, like we often want to have a personal purpose, and we certainly have many purposes like that, and we create them. But teleology refers to that which holds value extrinsic to ourselves. In other words, extrinsic meaning not only ourselves, but everything with us within it.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
How can you know your purpose until you've done it?
Until?
You've done it.
Till you've done it.
So can you really know your purpose until maybe the end of your life?
Yeah, okay. So that's a very important question. And that now plunges us into another realm of philosophy. But anyways, we're going to go there. Basically, we're all conscious living beings, okay? And okay, now it's a discussion time, so to be democratic, remove the power of the loudest voice in the room. We're all conscious beings, and we're moving about, and we're certainly inquiring information about the world, about ourselves. We don't even know much about ourselves. We're self-realizing as we go, and we're learning about the world as well. So we naturally tend to interpret things because anyone who's intelligent tends to interpret things. Like if you see several equally similar looking animals, you'll conclude, okay, this is one not a race, one species, yeah. Oh, these are dogs. See, they have all something in common. So you call them all dogs, okay? So naturally we acquire information and then we interpret it. So, what was the Christian theologian who said that the highest concept is the truest? In other words, the most awesome concept is the truest. Therefore, I don't want to throw some dogma on there like that, but again, we all have conscious experiences. And when we hear the most awesome, most comprehensive explanation that ties in and explains all of our experiences in a most convincing manner, that will reveal the deepest purpose of ourselves and everything else. And personally, to me, I had, as I went along in my life, I read this book, the other book, and sometimes one book, would just seem totally puny and dumb, so I would just put it down. But sometimes I would read a book, or hear a person speak, or sometimes even think about things, and it would synthesize things that I have had experience of. But later on, honestly, I heard something better, something more comprehensive, and therefore that enriched my understanding and gave me a deeper understanding of my purpose and the purpose of everything else. So I don't want to. I could tell you from my perspective what the purpose is, but this is Christian Lounge. It is an introduction into. The purpose of Christian Lounge is to push people onto the path of discovery, self-discovery. So, I don't want to give you my glasses and have you look at the world, but, you're a conscious being, you're traveling around, moving about, you're acquiring information about this world. Go figure. If you want, I'll be very happy to hear your understandings of life, and I'll be very happy to share mine, and in this way perhaps we enrich each other's experience.
You want to know mine?
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
Just because there's too many of us in the room, and I don't want to make it a private conversation here. That's the only reason. But otherwise, yes, I certainly would like to hear. Okay.
I have this.
Yeah.
You said that you were reading books and everything, and then the one with the most puny,
Trivial. Let's say.
trivial. Well, however way you placed it, it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter. What you said was that my question, I suppose, to you would be like, in that seemingly trivial book, there may have been a simple, just maybe one explanation towards your
Yeah,
path of
certainly, yeah.
self-discovery.
Certainly, yeah.
But yet you placed it, you put it down. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, because I want to invest my time properly. I live only short period of time, and trust me, I do want to know. So I manage my time.
right.
How do you manage it if you're living in a society where it doesn't encourage that?
Just go against it.
Because, I've been thinking about a lot of this, and everyone, the more and more I'm looking into things, they're saying, let go, stop judging, stop doing all this. But then when you talk to more people, they say, block all those people out, control who you have in your area.
Yeah,
And
people.
it seems
People
like
who
the more
tell
that you want to let
yeah.
go, it seems like you have to control
But
what's
why
going
would you?
in and
Why
out
would
of your
you?
life.
Why would you let go? Like people who tell you don't judge. They tell you that's a judgment in itself. I mean, if you're a rational human being, you have to judge. I mean, that's how can you acquire any knowledge unless you judge? You taste something, and it's salty. That's a judgment. You
then
know,
people
or
say-
this makes sense. This doesn't make sense. That's a judgment. We obviously have to judge all the time. But what people confuse is when they say don't judge, meaning like don't adopt the what's the English word, attitude of contempt. Can someone help me?
Arrogance, bias.
Bias, yeah, or yeah. But don't have this contempt. But you certainly should judge. You don't have to have contempt, but you certainly should judge. I mean, if you're a rational human, that's a modern, especially Southern California fad, and it's going on for decades. Don't
and
judge.
that's-
People often tell you, and we have to judge.
But that's what I face,
Yeah.
So you make a judgment, you speak
And
it,
then everyone
and
gets
then they
in
say that's your perception, that's not the truth. And
then you turn it around. That's your perception. So, I mean, do you want this conversation to go on, or what?
it's hard to develop that though when
Yeah.
everything seems to be going against you.
Yeah.
You want to think outside the box, but people are only thinking in the
Yeah.
box. And if you think outside, they just make you think
Yeah,
like you're crazy.
one interesting thing in the Vedas, and this is certainly judgment, and in modern days, people will maybe even crucify you for this, But the Vedas say that the majority of population are followers. And therefore, followers meaning they're, for a number of reasons, incapable of independent critical thinking. So, hey, I mean, to really pursue the truth. Often people throughout history, and this is another thing I think we can learn from history, that thoughtful people, the seekers, had to go against many, and often against majority.
So how do you stay true to yourself within all of this? Without it affecting you, without it making you pissed off.
Yeah. That's right. For example, the Bhagavad Gita, which is the most popular Indian spiritual text, says that the preliminary qualification for transcendence, for spiritual development, is what's the word? Apathy. Like, in other words, no feeling, neither good or bad, towards sources of external pain or pleasure. In other words, whatever from the outside may come, praise or condemnation, you're equally disposed towards it. And when you have that kind of attitude, you're best off. says that that's the base qualification for a seeker. That's why one of the common yoga practices is to expose oneself to extremes, like, from, meditating in a hot, blazing sand in South India, when you could fry. I don't know. I'm a vegetarian, so I can't think of anything. No. Whatever you put on that sand gets fried, gets cooked in like minutes, and the guy sitting there surrounded with fires. From that kind of tolerance to tolerating social praise or condemnation.
And what are some practices to get over, let's say, ignorance?
There's a very good practice that we just did before. One thing is conversation, but before that, meditation. Because meditation, what meditation does to you, and throughout history, world history, you'll find that people were thoughtful, and thoughtful people always come to mystical practice. That's a spiritual practice. Why spiritual practice? Because spiritual practice will develop a garden, will develop a beautiful, pleasant garden within your heart. So you don't have to seek for shelter on the outside. Because our nature is that we need to live in comfort. That's why people have a tendency to conform, because we need comfort. We cannot live uncomfortably. That's impossible. But if you have your internal comfort, then you're really solidly situated. And that comes from, like the chanting we did or personal chanting. There's one mantra kit, mantra meditation kit left. I guess we should put somewhere out there.
So if you choose and make judgments about who you want in your life, but you're comfortable enough to be who you are through meditation.
Yeah.
I mean, does that mean that you should be able to share yourself with everybody, or you should be, you should really, because I personally, I don't like sharing myself with everybody.
Yeah.
Because I can tell somebody is
Okay,
not
yeah,
receptive. And I just
Okay,
don't
I'll say one more
waste my
last
time.
thing. I'll say last thing because we try to keep it short in here, and then I'd love to continue with you talking later, right afterwards. When you say sharing, when we expose ourselves to any other people or group of people, there are two things going on. We're giving association, or we're taking association. If I'm taking association, if that association is not enriching me, I just leave. Personally, I lose interest. Or if the offering from the person or the group of people is not enriching my life, and I'm not taking association, but I'm giving association, then I will stay. But if neither of those elements are in there, I just leave. Personally. Because think, whenever you associate, you're always or giving association or taking association. So unless some kind of enrichment of one or the other conscious unit is taking place, to me that's a futile combination. And it's not like, oh, I hate your guts and I leave. No, nothing. It's just like, very polite, very normal, but I'm not interested in trivial anything. Graver, deeper the purpose, greater the value, and therefore greater emotional experience and more beauty in life. Everything increases. I just not interested in shallow things, trivial anything.
Can I say one more thing?
Okay.
So I feel like by doing that, I'm controlling what reality is, instead of just accepting what reality is, which is everything.
Yeah, but how do you interpret reality? It's not that you're not experiencing reality, but how are you interpreting reality? It's not that when you're all grave and serious and you move about, it's not that you're cutting yourself off from anything. You're still perceiving